I think we should get started, even though that there's slight confusion. We've got another room and number 7, room 7, that's on the first floor, but I guess the room is almost full. But we've got a few other guests that are coming and 2 other speakers that will be joining us in due course. But for the time being, thank you very much all for being here today. It is a real pleasure to have you here all. And it is a show of solidarity to the Kurdish movement. And today, I want to talk about the important aspects of our solidarity and the fight for justice and everything else that comes with it. And the solidarity with the Kurdish people is not something new, but recently the highlights have come back to the cause. As many of you know, the Kurdish people have a proud history of resilience and fighting for their basic rights. And this has always been at the forefront of the fight for justice, equality, and fairness. I can see one of our guests coming in. Bambos, can you please join us here? Thank you. Thank you very much. Once again, I would like to thank you all for being here today. And we're going to start kicking off. And we will start with our program that we have excellent speakers will be highlighting the things that we want to focus on. First of all, I would like to welcome our guest, His Excellency Mr. Shifa Barzani. He's a prominent politician from Kurdistan region, and he's also a General Supervisor for Kurdistani Diaspora Borough. Thank you very much for coming to join us all the way from Kurdistan. Next, we have Ben Taylor, a very well-known politician. He was just off by a few votes to be our Labour MP, but we will surely get him elected next time round. But thank you very much for joining us as well. It was a real pleasure to have you with us. The next speaker, no less, our own MP, His Right Honourable Bambos Charalambous. Thank you very much for joining us today as well. It is a real pleasure to have you here with us. And we have Omna, our London Assembly member, a very prominent figure in British politics and especially in London politics. He's playing a major role of shaping how London looks like. And I guess I'm starting with my right-hand side guests, and I will start with Ben, if that's okay, to get started. And thank you very much, Ben, for joining us. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. Yep. So, first of all, thank you for inviting me today. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for being here at part of a really important event. First of all, I want to acknowledge the importance of solidarity. As a movement, the Labour Party was formed through solidarity, through groups coming together, and we see that more and more happening every single year across our movement as it grows. We're here today at the largest conference that Labour has ever had, and that has happened because of the people in this room and across the conference centre. I saw firsthand when I ran as a parliamentary candidate the importance of all of the groups across our movement coming together. and making sure that we were representing every group that was part of who we are and part of what makes up the Labour Party. I think it's important that we recognise the Kurdish contribution to the UK. Kurds have made British society enriched with by being part of the community, by strengthening the country's diversity, and as we've seen from today, it's the involvement in business, culture, and local communities is absolutely transformative for the country. It's also important that we touch on the ongoing struggles that the Kurdish people face, both in the UK and in their homeland, especially regarding the fight for autonomy. And it's important that the Labour Party fight to make sure that we're doing everything that we can for the Kurdish community. The fight for human rights and self-determination mirrors the Labour Party values of justice, equality and fairness. And as Labour Party members, it's important that we stand with all marginalised communities. The Labour Party has a duty to address their concerns, whether through foreign policy that champions human rights or domestic policies that protect Kurdish people in the UK from discrimination. I really want to emphasise, and I'm sure this is a room that I don't have to say it to, that active solidarity is really important. It's more than just words, it's actions. And the actions that we take as Labour Party members every day are extremely important to make sure that we can support all of the communities. And we need to make sure that across conference and as we come away from the next few days, we focus on policies that impact meaningful change for all the communities, especially the Kurdish community. And I'll end by just saying that I think it's unbelievably important that we have events like this, not just at conference, but when we go back to our communities. And I hope that I will see Kurds for Labour come and join us in Croydon South to talk about the Kurdish struggle and make sure that people in Croydon South are aware of exactly what we can do to help everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben, for your comprehensive details and for showing your solidarity. And we will surely looking forward to join you in Croydon South in days to come, weeks to come. But thank you very much for your outstanding speech. Next is Mr. Shifa Barzani, His Excellency. Thank you very much for joining us. The floor is all yours.
Thank you very much. Esteemed members of Labour Party, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. It is a great privilege to address you today as we commemorate not only this event, but Labour Party's resounding and decisive victory in the recent election. A victory that has followed 14 arduous years in opposition. Your dedication, tireless efforts, and steadfast commitment to your values have culminated in this decisive win, ushering in the new era of progress for this great nation. I extend my heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you for this well-deserved triumph. May this great victory and this momentous event in Liverpool serve a source of inspiration as you continue your journey toward a better and brighter future, not just for your own people, but for other pro-democracy nations who are considering here as a cradle of practicing modern democracy. I extend my heartfelt, First and foremost, please accept my sincere apologies for not being more interactive today. Thus, I am reading my speech. As over the past week, I was in Yerevan participating in and speaking at the international event focused on diaspora issues. I only arrived here a few hours ago. First of all, I would like to begin by sharing a poignant moment from the Yerevan conference where I was introduced as a representative of the largest stateless nation in the world. While this description is indeed painful, I added another layer to it. We are not only the largest stateless nation, but also the only nation in the world who have experienced countless atrocities, including genocide, crimes against humanity, ethnic cleansing, and gross violations of our rights, yet we remain deprived of our own independent state. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, the origin of this painful description, the largest stateless nation is generally linked to this event, to this very country. It traced back to the infamous Sykes-Picot Agreement proposed by Mark Sykes of Britain and George Picot of France. With the stroke of a pen, they used maps and rulers to redraw the boundaries of Ottoman Empire, granting independence to many nations once under Ottoman rule. Yet we, the Kurds, were ultimately denied this divine and fundamental rights to an independent state. Now we have seen over 40 million people of Kurdistan are unwillingly divided over 4 countries, mostly Turkey, Iran, Iraq, and Syria. However, if that was the distant past, we must also recognize the recent history for which we are deeply grateful to this great nation. The United Kingdom for this steadfast support of Kurdistan and its people. We will never forget Britain's decisive backing of UN Secretary Council Resolution 688, which prevented yet another wave of genocide against our people, and also the limited supports provided for our people in Rojava. We deeply appreciated the UK's ongoing support for the Kurdistan regional government, enabling into the better provide essential services for our citizens there. The UK's vital assistance in our fight against ISIS was indispensable. While Kurdistan fought on behalf of the free world, we succeed in defeating ISIS military, but the battle continues behind the battlefield. I will come back to this point later. The Labour Party's solidarity with Kurds has been a profound and effective movement within this esteemed party, offering unwavering support for our cause. The establishment of the all-party parliamentary group, APPG, on Kurdistan within the UK Parliament has been another significant and impactful initiative, further strengthening ties between our nations. Additionally, the UK hosts the second largest Kurdistani diaspora in the world. We are deeply thankful that this country, which has welcomed them, embraced them, offering refuge, education, healthcare, and countless opportunity for them to thrive and contribute. It makes us so proud to see members of this diaspora like MP Feryal and Councillor Sarbaz and many other excelling as academics, lawyers, business people, and professionals. We consistently advise and encourage the Kurdistani diaspora to honor the generosity of this kind and open-minded nation, to integrate fully into the British society, and to consider themselves British first while cherishing their Kurdish heritage. Honorable ladies and gentlemen, despite all I have just mentioned, we, as a peaceful and pro-democratic nation, continue to stand firm in our commitment to democracy, rule of law, human rights, tolerance, coexistence, and the right of minorities' values that define us. This is the reason why the office who I supervise is named as Kurdistani, not Kurdish, Diaspora Bureau. These principles have set us apart in the Middle East, and because of our pro-Western stance, we have often paid a very heavy price. But these are our core values, and we remain tireless in our efforts to uphold and promote them. In light of this, we look to our allies and friends, in particular the United Kingdom, for continued support to help us defend these principles. Therefore, I respectfully call upon the Labour Party, the ruling party of this great country, to consider the following. First, while we appreciate the United Kingdom's recognition of the genocide campaigns against Kurdish people by Saddam Hussein's regime, and also recognizing the ISIS genocide against the Yazidi Kurds, our people are yet currently facing another wave of threats and another form of discrimination and violations for our rights, which threaten the very basic rights of my people. Therefore, we are desperately needing help from you to prevent further mistreatments and discriminations against our people. Second, although ISIS has been only defeated militarily, its ideology persists and continue to pose the threat. We urge the UK government to assist us in combating this dangerous ideology and preventing its resurgence. Finally, I look forward to further strengthening our mutual relationship, and I am hopeful that in this new era of UK political life, we will see even more effective support for Kurdistan and its people by the United Kingdom. I wish the conference great success, and once again I express my deepest gratitude for the opportunity to speak today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. Shifa Barzani, for your detailed presentation. It was really helpful, and we appreciate your presence, that you have flown all the way from Marivan to be here with us. But that is really appreciated. Thank you very much once again for being here today. I would like to welcome Feryal Clark, our own MP. She's outstanding in the community, one of the prominent figures in British politics. Thank you very much for being here today. And I would also like to welcome Don Butler, our own MP. Thank you very much, Don, for being here. It is a real pleasure to have your solidarity and your support, and we really appreciate your presence here. I would also like to welcome Haringey Council Leader Feryal Ahmed for being here as well. And we'd like to welcome Cllr Holland, Councillor Cllr Holland, the leader of Lambeth Council, for being here, among all other councillors that we have in the room, and our great friends who have joined us today. And next on the agenda, we have outstanding MP that sits right next to me, his Right Honourable Bambos. Thanks very much for being here today, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Shall I stand? I'll stand to speak. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. The Kurdish community plays such a vital role in our community in North London. I'm proud to have Feryal as a colleague and a friend, and if you want an example of the role the Kurdish community play, not just locally, we had the response to the earthquake in southern Turkey and northern Syria. It showed the community at its absolute best. They were literally like came together. They were sending things out in lorry loads to southern Turkey, and it was a scandal that they didn't get more response from the Turkish government to that, and there needs to be more accountability as to the aftermath of the earthquake. But the community is amazing, and I'm proud to have so many constituents who are Kurdish, and they play a vital role in our community. Your Excellency, you made some very good points. Universal rights are universal rights. They need to be implemented universally. It's a scandal that they're not, particularly with the Kurds. The Kurds have experienced discrimination, both in the ability to use their language in certain places, their customs, to practice their beliefs, and on top of that, in certain parts of the world, then they face regular attacks from hostile actors which go unpunished. So these need to be addressed and challenged. There are also things in place. We have the Sinjar agreement, which has not been implemented properly. So there needs to be more pressure by the UK government to make sure that the Sinjar agreement is properly implemented. It was, I think, it was signed in 2020, and yet you have lots of internally displaced people in parts of Iraq that are unable to go to their homeland, and it's a huge number, and that's absolutely scandalous. They're not allowed to go there. So what we need to do as a Labour Party is show our commitment and support to the Kurdish community. We need to make sure that we corral the international community to get together to support them and help bring about the change that we know the Kurdish community needs and wants and deserves. So I will pledge my support to the Kurdish community to try and speak up about those issues and to help bring about change. I'm on so many APPGs, it's untrue, but I'm on the APPG for the Yazidi genocide, and we want to make sure that the Yazidis get the rights that they so rightly deserve. And part of it is by recognising that things are genocide and making those that have committed those atrocities, whether they're ISIS fighters or others, we need to make sure they're held to account. So I pledge my support and allegiance to the Kurdish community. You have my wholehearted support, and I'll make sure that I speak up for you in Parliament and encourage my colleagues to take an interest in the area. I don't think I've got much more to say, but it's a real pleasure to be here amongst friends in solidarity with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Right Honourable, for your speech, and we really appreciate your solidarity and your support, and we will surely be counting on you to speak on our behalf in Parliament and wherever it's possible to make sure that our voices are heard and acknowledged, but we surely rely on our friends, comrades, and everybody across the political spectrum to make sure that the Kurdish cause is talked about and acknowledged, and we really appreciate your support and everything that you have done so far. You have always been at our events to showing your solidarity. Your presence is surely greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Next on the agenda to speak is the London Assembly member, Desai. Thank you very much for being here today, and the floor all yours.
Thank you. I think I'll stand as well. Good morning, friends, brothers, sisters, comrades. It's really good to be here with you, many familiar faces, people I've known for many years. I was asked yesterday to say a few words in support of this meeting, and can also thank SME for Labour for hosting this event. So first let me say a few words about who I am, because after 24 years of existence, many people, but even the Labour movement still ask what is the London Assembly. So you've got Sadiq Khan, who's the Mayor of London, and then he's got executive powers, and then you've got 25 Assembly members. I'm one of them. I represent the City of London, Tower Hamlets, Newham, Barking, and Dagenham, the biggest constituency, 3 councils, 1 corporation. Our job is to scrutinise the Mayor, but I also see my job as being an advocate for East London in many ways, as a campaigner to promote the interests of East London and therefore London as well. But also part of my work I do see as working with many sort of diverse communities. And the Labour Party is nothing if it's not an internationalist party. Solidarity, as Ben said, is built into our values, and so is internationalism, going back to the days of the freedom struggles in many parts of the Commonwealth to today. Kurds for Labour, and very proud that I've been asked to be an executive member, is of course to raise the awareness of issues affecting British Kurds, bring them into the Labour Party, but also take the Labour Party into the community. It's a two-way process. I spoke at the earlier meeting as well and made the same points about the British Turkish community. But also, from the brief that I've had, I think amongst the themes of this meeting is to raise awareness of the Kurdish cause, and also how the Labour movement can continue to support some of the issues that you, Mr. Barzani, have touched upon. So I'm also a member of the GMB, London Region. I'm political officer of the Newham branch, and I sit on the London Regional Committee of the GMB. I also speak as a trade unionist, not just as a London Assembly member. So I went to Turkey back in 2019 as part of a cross-party delegation. And what I saw there has left a deep impression on me. In the words of he's a member of the HDP, but what he said to us at the very last day, and it's of course by the delegation from people all across Europe. Janet Arnold was there as well, and the words that he said, right, his very last words: go and tell the world what is happening in Turkey today. That's all we ask for. Powerful words, they still resonate with me. What we saw there, attacks on not just Kurdish activists, members of progressive democratic parties holding secular values, equality of men and women, but attacks on trade unionists. We met the British equivalent of the Ankara TUC, I forget the exact title of the organization. We met women activists and the attack on them. There's a sexualization of violence against women activists, and in particular women who've been arrested. The Turkish equivalent of Liberty, and I'm executive member of Liberty many years ago when Sadiq Khan was the vice chair, going around speaking to people and seeing what actually is going on. We actually officially went to observe the political trials that were taking place in Sirkan prison, just outside Ankara. In the morning, the judge said there were 50 of us that we could actually go into the courtroom and observe trials. After the local army commander, I suspect, forget what rank, after he went and saw the judge suddenly decided that we were a threat to the security of the court and said we could not come in. It was a moving experience. The last of which I'd said, I mean, the way that the army surrounded us and tried to intimidate us, even though we were holding our passports. And last I'd seen something like that was when I went to Northern Ireland in the early 80s, with the True South movement. And eventually, although we protested, wanted to exercise our rights to observe the trial, we just sort of could not get in. So we went there the next day again to show solidarity. And what was moving was that many families would come from all parts of remote Turkey because their relatives or sons or daughters were amongst the prisoners being held. So it was a 4-day trip. But as I say, what we were told, go and tell the world what's happening in Turkey, is something that I certainly will remember. So the trade unions, what can we do as trade unions and also from the London Assembly? First with solidarity in different ways, not just passing resolutions, but now with the Labour government, how we can influence our foreign policy, through our parliamentarians, through various other sort of political structures, fundraising to support the groups that do so important work here. So there are many ways to practically show our solidarity with our comrades, brothers and sisters in Turkey, fighting to exercise democratic rights, human rights. And I found your words, Mr. Barzani, very, very inspiring. So I'll do what I can from the London Assembly, but also the trade unionists to support the cause of the Kurdish people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Omna Desai, for your kind words and for the great speech. And we really appreciate your solidarity, and we heard your story that you have, what has happened to you, and the message that you got back from Turkey to the people of Britain. And thank you very much. We're surely looking forward to work with you. And next, last but not least on the agenda, our own MP, Feryal Clark. She is one of the prominent figures in British politics, and we as the Kurds were looking up to her. We will surely be learning from her experience and everything else. But thank you very much for being here tonight. It is a great pleasure to have you here, and we are looking to hear from you, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Sarbaz, and thank you everyone for being here, Your Excellency. Thank you for your support and for visiting us again. And Unmesh, Bambos, all of you guys have been incredible supporters of the Kurdish community. I am a product of the Kurdish diaspora and what is happening in Middle East to Kurds. And the reason I am here, the reason my family and migrants are here, is because of what was happening in Turkey. But as His Excellency said, we've been, the Kurds in UK have very much integrated and are, I will say, part and parcel of society at the moment. They are very much involved in society, whether it's the numerous councillors, Labour councillors, we've got SNP councillors from Glasgow to Lambeth. We have Kurds taking part in local politics and being part of society in that way. But not only that, we've also got, I don't know any politician in the Labour Party, in most parties, who hasn't had support from Ibrahim in trying to get either elected, selected. I know my election wouldn't have been that easy without the support of the stalwart, the amazing, the constantly, I don't know where he gets the time to constantly generate the ideas and the support. But he's, we've got amazing people like Ibrahim, but also in the business world as well. Up and down UK, you will find Kurds actually contributing to the economy of this country. I went to campaign in Anglesey. It's very far. It's in Wales. It's very difficult to get to. Even for Welsh people, it's very difficult to get to. And I've gone to campaign there. Sorry, apologies to any Welsh, anyone from there. But it's a beautiful part of town. And as I was walking down the road with my friends, which had been campaigning with, there was a kebab shop. And I don't know how it was, but they identified that I was Kurdish. I was tapping on the window, and they called us in. And then, of course, they were from Marash. So there are Kurds of every part, every community in the UK contributing to the UK, being a part of the community, and that's really important, because I think we the Kurds, when we look at politics, we are very much aware of what's happening back to the Kurdish people back at home. But what we haven't utilised very well, I would say, over the years, is being able to utilise our voices here to raise the issues with the representatives, with the people that represent us. I know the Tories have been busy wrecking the country, but foreign policy was also one of those areas where they did nothing to. So a lot of the community, the Kurdish community, have almost given up lobbying the British government to actually take an active interest in what is happening in Middle East. You've got at the moment, the Kurdish people in Syria fought hard and had major losses in trying to defeat ISIS, and they did, with the support of some Western countries, they did defeat ISIS. But yet we still now turn a blind eye to Turkey's incursions into Syria. And Turkey is a major ally to UK. They are a NATO country, they are a big ally. So if we can't speak to our friends and say, you are destabilising an area, so every time Turkey goes into, has military activity in Syria, it just emboldens the ISIS movement there still, who still have foothold in some certain communities there. You still have political prisoners in Turkey, although there have been numerous calls from Europe to actually release the political prisoners. And they've spent years and years and one leaders of Kurdish parties. And when I was growing up, it was a very normal thing to hear Kurdish parties in Turkey constantly changing names, because you never had the same Kurdish party throughout 10 years, a political cycle, because they're always banned. Soon as they are formed, soon as they are active, they are banned, and the leaders or activists put in prison. So Turkish prisons are full of Kurdish political activists, and despite calls on the Turkish government, nothing is being done. And it's not just, and you've got the Kurdish regional government are doing a fantastic job in regenerating northern Kurdistan, and we have, tourism was booming, trade was booming. You had universities and the academy sector all really booming, and then at the moment you've got part of Turkey still also going and undertaking military activity in around northern Kurdistan as well, terrifying the communities there, and also affecting the viability of the stability of Kurdish region. So we have to have, as a new government, we have to have sensible conversations with our friends, our allies. We need to have those conversations, because if we want stability in Syria, it's not going to happen without the Kurdish support, without supporting the Kurds, who are pluralistic, who are supporting women's rights, who have Democrats, who have managed to set up and run democratic authorities in that area. If you want stability in Iraq, it's not going to happen without supporting the Kurdish regional government there. And Iran, no one talks about it, but Iran executes more Kurdish prisoners than any other prisoners, but no one talks about it. Mahsa Amini was Kurdish as well. Jinjan Azadi is Kurdish. Kurd is a Kurdish protester. So we talk about, what happened in Iran and the uprising of women was absolutely amazing to see as a woman in Europe. But we also forget the undertones of why there is huge. So there is persecution, don't get me wrong, there is absolute horrendous persecution of women in Iran. But if you're a woman and Kurdish in Iran, it's even worse. So Kurds are being persecuted, executed, imprisoned all across Middle East, and some by our so-called friends. So it's high time, and I'm hoping with everything else, we've got a long list of things that this government is going to have to fix as a result of 14 years of a Tory government. I'm hoping foreign policy is one of those areas that we will actually now get proper attention. So, and we are lucky that the Foreign Secretary himself it has a huge constituency with has a constituency with huge Kurdish population. So he's not foreign to the pardon the pun, but he's not foreign to the issues. So he's very well aware. But he is aware, but he's being pulled his attention. There are numerous issues going on around the world that are demanding his attention at the moment. And the way that we make sure that the Kurdish issue is prioritised, at least is looked at, is to make sure that people in this room and people on this panel continue to make the case for the Kurdish cause across Middle East. So I'm relying on all of you guys to push me, to push us, but also to use your voice as members, as activists, as charities, to make sure that the Labour Party is doing what it should be when it comes to the Kurdish cause. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you very much, Feryal. That was really a passionate speech, and thank you very much for detailed speech that highlighted all the issues that are happening in all corners of Kurdistan. And with the Labour government, now we surely will be counting on our comrades, friends, and all of you to be our voice, to make sure that the voice of the Kurdish people are heard at every level of this government, and this is really important to make sure that this is the case. And like you rightly said, the Kurds have contributed to this society. They are playing a major role up and down the country, whether it's trade, business, academic, doctors. You hardly find a hospital without a Kurdish doctor in. Almost all the hospitals that I heard of have a Kurdish doctor in. We have academics, we have engineers that are playing a vital role in shaping up the British society and community. And you rightly said that the place that you have visited in Wales, that the kebab shops, that they're playing a vital role in making sure that we are not left hungry when we're returning back at night home. And yesterday I was at the London reception here, and as soon as I've joined my comrades, Councillor Ibrahim and Councillor Colin, they had somebody else with them. They were talking about Kurdish barbers, how amazing they are, they use it planes and everything else. That is amazing. I mean, it is amazing to see the Kurdish community's contribution getting acknowledged. I mean, years back, 20, 30 years ago, it was even difficult to get across that who the Kurds are. We had difficulty explaining to people where we come from, so we didn't have the highlights and the acknowledgement back then. But thank you all for being here, and it is with your help, your generosity, your solidarity that we are acknowledged. We are heard at every level. And once again, I don't think we have much time, but we are looking forward to see. We have a reception that is at Hilton on Tuesday the 24th at 7 o'clock, and we also have another reception, that's the SME for Labour, that's tonight. And we hope that you can join us, and that is also a sort of solidarity. And for Tuesday, we are looking forward to see you, and we are counting on you to be there and play a larger role. I'm sure we have a lot of comrades on the floor that who wished to speak and contribute positively, but because we have another meeting that's starting up at 11, we're going to have to call it a day for this event, but you're more than welcome to join the next event that we have lined up. But once again, thank you very much, Feryal Clark, for being here. It was amazing to have you. Thank you, Ben Taylor, for being here as well. That is really amazing to have you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We acknowledge that you had to travel all the way from Yerevan to be here with us. You just landed, and this is Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Your Right Honourable Bambos. Thank you very much, Unmesh. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Sarbaz,
thank
for
you.
chairing the meeting.
Thank you, sir.
How are you? This is Karim. We have met several times in the past.
Just leave this to you.
I would love to write to you.